Welcome to KonceptCraft. Introducing the Accounting Arena book, your ultimate guide to mastering the fundamentals of accounting. Embrace the world of accounting knowledge at your fingertips. Act now, and get your copy of Accounting Arena ebook. Link is available in the description below. Keep learning. Keep growing. Happy learning. Now let's begin our today's lesson.
Asset turnover ratios. Asset turnover ratios are a measure of how efficiently a company uses its assets to generate sales or revenue. They are calculated by dividing net sales or revenue by the average total assets for a specific period. A higher asset turnover ratio indicates that a company is able to generate more sales per unit of assets, while a lower ratio suggests that a company is not using its assets effectively. Asset turnover ratios can vary depending on the industry, as some industries require more capital-intensive assets than others. Therefore, it is important to compare asset turnover ratios of companies within the same industry to get a better understanding of their relative performance. Asset turnover ratios can also be affected by factors such as sales growth, asset purchases or sales, inventory management, and collection methods. If you want to know how well a company is using its assets to make money, you need to look at the asset turnover ratio. This ratio tells you how much sales a company generates for every dollar of assets it owns. Sounds simple, right? Well, not so fast. There are some things you need to watch out for when using this ratio. First of all, you need to make sure you are comparing apples to apples. Different industries have different levels of asset intensity, which means some businesses need more assets than others to operate. For example, a fast food chain might have a high asset turnover ratio because it sells a lot of burgers and fries with relatively few assets. On the other hand, a telecom company might have a low asset turnover ratio because it needs a lot of expensive equipment and infrastructure to provide phone and internet services. So, don't compare the asset turnover ratio of a burger joint with that of a phone company. That would be like comparing ketchup with mustard. Secondly, you need to be careful about how you calculate the ratio. The formula is net sales divided by average total assets. Net sales are the amount of revenue left after deducting sales returns, discounts, and allowances. Average total assets are the average of the beginning and ending balance of total assets for the year. But what if a company sells or buys a lot of assets during the year? That could skew the ratio and make it look higher or lower than it really is. So, you might want to adjust the asset turnover ratio for any significant asset sales or purchases that occurred during the year. Thirdly, you need to understand what the ratio means for different types of assets. The asset turnover ratio can be broken down into two components: fixed asset turnover and working capital turnover. Fixed asset turnover measures how well a company uses its long-term assets, such as buildings and machinery, to generate sales. Working capital turnover measures how well a company uses its short-term assets, such as inventory and receivables, to generate sales. A high fixed asset turnover indicates that a company is using its long-term assets efficiently and not wasting money on unnecessary capital expenditures. A high working capital turnover indicates that a company is managing its inventory and receivables well and not tying up too much cash in idle assets. So, there you have it. The asset turnover ratio is a useful tool to measure how efficiently a company uses its assets to generate sales. But remember, it's not a perfect measure, and it has some limitations. You need to compare it with similar companies in the same industry, adjust it for any significant asset sales or purchases, and analyze it for different types of assets. And don't forget to have some fun along the way.